Hello, hello. How are you? One second. How is your weekend so far? Wait, am I live yet? Um, how's okay? Looks like I'm live. All right. Now, welcome back to Ask Jason Anything About Facebook Ads. If this is the first time you see me, welcome to my universe. But if you have been here around for a while, welcome back. Now, my name is Jason. If this is the first time we meet, I'm a meta ads optimization strategist based in Malaysia. So what I do is, I help brands take their meta ads campaign to the next level using proven data metrics driven optimization techniques that I've been using to help my clients since 2010. So over the years, I've helped over 6,000, 7,000, kind of like lost count of it, thousands of meta advertisers from all around the world to actually take their campaign to the next level. So a few situations, if you have been running ads and you want to take it to the next level, you want to scale it and you want to spend more money to make more money, but you can't seem to find the best combination of things to work for you. I actually encourage you to reach out to me because we would actually find a way to scale in the most effective way. Now, if you have been running ads, but you can't seem to find traction, everything seems to be, like work and flop, on and off, and you can't seem to find a stable and, um, you know, in a way, consistent pattern or model to run ads for your product or your brand or services. I also encourage that you reach out to me because that's what I do. I have brands develop strategy and I help brands develop strategy at the same time, build it together, and then eventually we try to optimize it to help you take your campaign or your business to the next level. So that's what we do. Now, what about here? So this is where I go live every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time. And for 30 minutes or so, basically it's for me to answer questions that I get from my audience in my community, mainly on YouTube. So if you have any Facebook related or digital marketing related questions, I would encourage that you post. First, go to my YouTube channel. Okay, I posted over 1,000 videos. Chances are you probably can find something very similar to what you're facing right now. But otherwise, if you can't find it, don't worry. You can always post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to answer you live over here on the following Sunday. So you can join me the next Sunday to listen to my comment. Otherwise, you will get a link to watch my replay anyway. So yeah, that's how it works. All right. So yeah, if you're watching this here, if you have any questions, feel free to post it on my in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the questions that we have today, and then I will circle back to the questions that we receive on the chat level. So stay back until the end of it, right? Now, just in case, I just want to make sure that this is live. But, like not everybody can wait for another week or not everybody wants to go live, So if you have any questions that you want a faster response or more direct response with me, from me, or you have something that is more private, you don't want to discuss in the public, you can scan this QR code. It will take you to my Fiber Geek where you can book a 30-minute Zoom call with me where we can do whatever we need in the Zoom call itself. We can analyze the campaign. We can go through your settings. We can, like look into your problem or your challenges, whatever that you're facing to help you fix your problem so that you can actually move on to do the next most important things in your meta advertising journey. So that's what you want. Scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. Now, if you're new to meta advertising, you're looking for a more structured way to learn meta advertising, how to set up the meta ads campaign in a most structured way, in a way. So I would recommend my Facebook Ads Masterclass. Now, this is the 2.5-hour recorded training. So what I do here is I discuss the most important things that you need to know to get yourself, up and running to run ads, to be able to, set up, design, and even optimize your Facebook Ads campaign on your own. So we discuss 5 things in this Facebook Ads Masterclass. First, we talk about the strategy that I use. How do I form the strategy? How do I strategize the budget, the content, the top of funnel, the audience targeting, and everything with the step-by-step walkthrough. But most importantly, I think the foundation is the strategy and the structure. How do we build that structure is what we talk about, the strategy. And as we move along, we talk about important things such as the objective selection, the audience targeting, the ad creative, and last but not least, like the analytics, which in my opinion, everybody can start running ads, but how do you know whether your campaign is performing or not, and what can you do? How do you determine what to do next? That's really the key that I always believe every meta advertisers must learn. So that's what you want. Scan this QR code. You can sign up and start learning right away. You don't need to wait for the next course because it's a recorded training anyway. And you always get the latest version of it because every time when there are major updates in Facebook Ads Manager and everything, I'm going to do like re-recording on the entire course, and you always get the latest version when you go back to the link that you get after purchasing the course. So that's what you want. Scan this QR code. All the best in your learning. And next, I do get people come back to me and say that, Jason, I have gone through quite a number of learning and I don't want to go through learning anymore. Would you be able to help me design the strategy that works for my business and set it up for me so that I can learn how it's done, right? So yes, I do take clients. We don't take a lot of clients for this, but you can scan this QR code where you would have, like a very straightforward, it's a 2-session thing whereby the first call is we come in, we understand your objective, we understand your goal, your business and your budget structure and everything. And I will design the strategy for you by recommending the creative for the top of funnel, the audience targeting for top of funnel and retargeting, and how do you do the messaging for the retargeting side to hopefully make it more effective. And if you have a landing page, I would even give recommendations on the landing page itself. So if that's what you want. So that's the first call, right? So we would actually, design the strategy that you will go on and build your content and everything. And on the second call is where I would actually build the campaign for you, in front of you, with you. So bring your team members, everybody who needs to know about this. So I would walk you through on how to, every single steps in setting up the campaign in the Ads Manager. Everything will be recorded. So consider this your personalized training for your business so that you can actually use this to train your future stuff, right? So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So same thing, scan this QR code. It will take you to my Fiverr gig where you can, just purchase the gig, then we can actually start right away. So yeah, I look forward to work with you if that's what you want. Now let's go through some of the questions. We don't have a lot of questions today, but I think these are meaningful questions that I really want to spend time discussing. So the first one is coming from NB. So N is asking a few questions. So this is really a video about how to test Facebook ads creative. There are several ways that I use to test creative, but fundamentally, you really need to know how the learning in the ad set and the campaign level work. So when you're testing new creative, you really need to consider what would be the best way to do. So if that's what you want to learn, you can actually go back to this video, search for it on my YouTube channel and watch it and learn whatever that I discuss in there. But the question coming from Anne here is, when you're testing ad on a lean budget, is it best to set the budget on the campaign level, or which is now Advantage Plus budget, or at the ad set level? Now, thanks for the question. So basically, in my opinion, it really depends on how you structure your campaign. You see, the differences between CBO or Advantage Plus budget and ABO is the level of control you have on the budget itself. So let's say, for example, if you have one campaign and one ad set where you have multiple ads in it, it doesn't matter whether you set it on the ad set level or the campaign level, because it's the same. But the problem here is if you have a campaign that has multiple ad sets. So when you have multiple ad sets and, the moment you set Advantage Plus budget or the CBO, the fact is not every ad set will get equal budget distribution. Some will get more budget, some will actually spend lesser because Facebook believe some of the budget, or so-called some of the ad sets, may get better result, so they spend more money on it. And the key here is, after testing several rounds, a lot of my clients actually do the CBO, we realize it's not always the one that gets us the most result at the lower cost will get the most budget. So sometimes they will spend more on the one that gets not a lot of results and the cost is slightly higher, but just because of some of the CTR is performing better, they tend to spend more money on it. So that's the problem when you go for Advantage Plus budget. Now, the other angle to look at this is when you have multiple ad sets in the same campaign and you do Advantage Plus, it's not impossible, but it's hard to actually make sure that you want a very even distribution on the budget. You can set the maximum spend and minimum spend, but it may not actually go accordingly. So it really depends on your campaign structure. So in my opinion, because I always like to keep all the learning within the same campaign. So in some of the cases, I may even do multiple ad sets targeting different audiences. At the same time, because they go for the same objective, I might even do the top of funnel and retargeting within the same campaign because they use the same objective, because that allows the campaign to learn better. And hopefully it's a lot easier for you to find the best audience, and it's a lot more stable when you actually have a more well-learned campaign going forward. So in that case, I must actually distribute the budget according to how I want it. So that's why I always favor ABO, ad set budget optimization, for my campaign structure, because I need the control. Like I always spend more than 80% or more on the top of funnel, and I will not spend more than 20 to 30% on the retargeting. So that's the throttle and the control that I need to have in my campaign. That's the reason why I always prefer ad set budget optimization. So it's really about the control that you want and the structure of your campaign. So I hope that makes sense, right? But having said that, right, it's really, I wouldn't say which one works better, but it's really about testing what works better for your business and how you control the campaign. Because in my opinion, everybody must develop your own way of structuring your campaign structure and managing it, because it's you who's managing the campaign. You can actually take me as an example or some of my recommendations as some guideline or some references, but you really need to consider building your own. So if you are running ads and you're not sure which one works better for you, and you have started some tests here and there, and you want to kind of like, want me to come in and help you understand the structure that works for you and give you recommendation on how you should structure your budget, and whether you want to go ABO or ABO, so Advantage Plus or ABO, and how do you want to structure your campaign in a way that makes you, have better control in the long run. Well, I would actually recommend that you scan this QR code and let's have an ad review, so that I can actually help you analyze the campaign and, probably recommend you what would be the best way to structure this thing and that. So yeah, so this is where we would actually dive into your existing campaign, draw all the metrics out to analyze and see what's working, what's not working. And of course, we can actually have a recommendation on what can you possibly do to hopefully take your campaign to the next level, which is what we do. But at the same time, we can also use this session to analyze your current structure, to find out some of the mistakes or flaws that you're having in your structure, to help you optimize your structure so you can have better control in your Meta Ads campaign. So yeah, if that's what you want, scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. Now, so that brings us to the next question that we have from Anne here is, Anne, you're asking, when introducing a new ad set with a fresh creative that you want to test against established ad set with conversion history, okay? So is it better to pause the established ad set, duplicate and run the duplicate alongside with the new ad set? Now, here's what I think, okay? In my opinion, feel free to test new creative whenever you feel you want to, but we don't need to overdo it. See, here's my philosophy, a very simple foundation of how I manage or help my client optimize their Facebook ads campaign. We do not break what's working. We only find better way to make it work better. Make sense? So if you have a campaign that has been performing and you have a conversion history that you are satisfied with the conversion, the cost per result and everything, keep it running. Even, I would say, continue to optimize it. Find out what's working better for this right now. Probably we should consider testing new creative, because the CTR is already doing good. Not doing so good, but you have good ROAS. That means that when we introduce new creative that can improve the CTR, we might get better result along the way, right? So that's what I would do. So basically, in my opinion, let's say here's the example that I would do. Let's discuss the whole thing based on your example here. So if I have an ad set, a campaign with an ad set that is performing really well, I'll just keep it running. So I would keep it running. I would spend the most money out of it, because as long as it's doing well, I would actually keep it running. So then I would optimize. I would try to analyze what's the gap that is, hindering the campaign to perform better. So if you really identify it's the creative, which is, you hear me out, not every campaign needs to be optimized using creative. Yeah, that's a very important thing, because I've seen a lot of campaign, the creative is performing, but the result is not coming out. So when we test, it could be because of the placement that we are using. It could be because of the landing page. It could be because of the offer. It could be because of the product. There's so many reasons that affects the performance of a campaign overall. So we really need to find out. But having said that, if you really pinpoint that it's the creative that is not performing so well, that is hindering you from getting better results, now fine. So what I'll do is I would duplicate the existing ad set. As long as it's doing well, in a way still performing, I'll keep it there. But I would duplicate the new ad set and I would test new ad in it. Okay. If you want to test, it really depends on the structure. So if you want to test, you test, let's say 3 or 5 new ads and then you go ahead and test. So then when you identify some of the better performing ads, you can actually duplicate the existing ads into the ad set if you want to, or you can actually keep the ad set running. It really depends on how you want to structure the whole thing. So some of the times, in fact, for my cases, I want to keep the ad set over here. So if, like it's really in there, I would introduce new ad into the performing ad set itself. But we don't overdo it. Like I said, you don't really need to keep creating ads, to be frank. In most of the brand, especially if you're talking about a lean budget that you're having, you probably just need to test new creative once a month or twice a month, to be frank. You don't really need to do that, because as long as it's performing, and you need to know how to determine whether it's performing, and you need to know how to find out what are the other possible leakages in your campaign that you can fill and patch it, and hopefully you can get better results, right? Let's say, for example, right, you have a lot of landing page fill, but your add to cart is crappy, then you know that must be something wrong with the checkout process or the landing page itself. Tweaking things here and there may change things in a very significant way. It's not always the creative. That's why I always encourage people who run ads, you must learn how to look at all the things in a more objective way to be able to make the right decision for your campaign. So yeah, if that's what you want, I would recommend that you scan this QR code, which would take me to my ad review gig on Fiverr, where we will spend 30 minutes over a Zoom call to do 3 things with you. First, I would help you build a dashboard, with all the metrics that you need to monitor for your campaign, specifically for your business. And from there, I will analyze the campaign for you, and I would actually build a plan for you. As I do it, I will teach you how to analyze and make decisions on your own. So basically, that helps you build the mindset or the ability to analyze and optimize. It's a start. I'm not saying that over 30-minute Zoom call, you'll be able to learn the whole thing, but at least I'll give you an action plan that you can, take it on and start testing things on your own. And then after that, after several rounds of sessions like this, I would encourage that you come back if you like it. You will get better and better at looking at the numbers and, of course, the optimization side of things. So yeah, that's what you want. I really encourage that you scan this QR code, book a gig with me, and I look forward to work with you. All right. So that's that coming from NB. Thank you so much. Now, then the next question is coming from Ferrishausen. So I'll probably call you Ferris. Okay, Ferris is saying, this is a video about how to control Facebook ads frequency. One of the way here is we do exclusion. And Ferris is saying that when you do exclusion, the cost is going to be so high. I actually beg to differ. Okay, the Facebook ad cost will not get high just because you apply exclusion. Because first thing first, you need to understand why do you want to apply exclusion, because you want to make sure that your ads are not keep showing in front of people who have taken action on it, click on it and whatever. Because naturally, let's say when you optimize for sales, Facebook will always show your ads in front of people who are more likely to convert. But the thing here is these people, they probably have clicked, they probably have convert. If you don't do exclusion, you will keep coming back to them because of the intent that Facebook believe that they have on your ad or your product or your services. So what you need to do here is you need to learn when to push this audience away, because the whole idea here is, especially for top of funnel campaign, the purpose of a top of funnel campaign is to always reach new people for you, so that you can always have inflow of new audience to be introduced to your product, and hopefully you'll get some of the audiences to convert into customer. And even some we did not convert with the intent, you can actually do retargeting to actually try to convert them further down. Now, the top of funnel especially, you need to apply exclusion. So when you apply exclusion, technically you're only pushing people who have taken action away from seeing the ad. Technically, you will still be able to reach a mass audience that you're targeting out there. So it's not gonna make your ad cost go high. I've seen, I've been applying exclusion technique for all my clients' campaigns and all that in the past 10 odd years, to be frank. It's so rare that when we apply exclusion, the costs get high. So if you do apply exclusion, the costs get high, probably there must be something that is wrong in the campaign. It may not be the exclusion, it may be something else, or maybe in the settings that you may actually apply incorrectly, I wouldn't say. So yeah, it's really that, because usually the audience that are being excluded are not big, and usually you're targeting even bigger audience out there. So that wouldn't actually cause the cost to go high. So if you do have that situation, I would encourage that you start diving into the whole campaign metrics itself and try to see what is really causing it. Is it because of the CTR? Is it because of the CPM? Because usually if you do exclusion, the CTR may increase because you might be reaching more people, and hopefully from there, the fresh people see it, they would actually click more. So the CTR may improve. If you already have good CTR, then it will actually get better from there. And the CPM wouldn't actually increase much because you are only pushing a fraction of people away. So what's wrong with the entire campaign that causes your cost to become high? We really need to analyze and find out why. So if you face this situation where your ad costs become high after you apply exclusion, well, I would like to look at your campaign. So I would encourage that you scan this QR code. It will take you to my Fiverr gig where we can actually have a 30-minute one-on-one Zoom call over here, where I would actually first build a dashboard with all the metrics that you need to track for your campaign and your business. And then after that, I will analyze it for you and, like share with you how to analyze it yourself. And after that, as we analyze it, we will build a plan on how how can we possibly take the campaign to the next level or to fix what's broken in the campaign, hopefully to bring the cost down. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So if that's what you want, if you're running ads and you kind of like not sure why your cost is getting high and all that, you need to, you need to have somebody who is experienced to look at your situation to give you personalized recommendation. Scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. All right, so that's the question. Now, I really want to share with you, a very successful campaign that I recently helped my client achieve. And it's really a strategy that I built for an e-commerce cosmetic brand. So if you're running business, if you're running an e-commerce store for cosmetic, let's say nail polish, skincare, like cosmetic product, like foundation, like lipsticks and everything. So it's really a strategy that you want to actually consider. So basically, when you want to build a Facebook ad strategy for an e-commerce cosmetic brand, you need to actually look at 3 types of audiences, or 3 layers of structure that you should have in your Facebook ads campaign. So the first one is the top of funnel. So when it comes to top of funnel, what we always do is we will always use the best performing product to reach out to the audience. So it could be the category. It could be let's say if you're doing lipstick, it could be the shade that you know that this is really selling really well. And when I use this to run ads, I'll be able to get the people to come in because they like the color and stuff like that. So we always use the ads or the products that is going to help us get the most click at the top of funnel. And of course, we're going to get some conversion from there. But we do not pay a lot of attention on the ROAS because it may not do that well, but we will focus a lot more on the cost per click or cost per landing page view. And if everything goes well after landing, a lot of people are already starting browsing your store your products in your store, meaning we have a very high conversion from landing to content view. Let's say you have 100 people landed on your website and your content view is about 400. That means everybody come in, they will see about 4 items at least. So that's a good sign because people are being introduced to your store and they are interested. So if you have a situation where you have 100 landing, and you only have about like 50 people started browsing around, then you know that you probably brought in the wrong people or you brought them to the wrong landing page. So we really need to, look into these tiny little things in your campaign data to try to fix whatever. But essentially, the top of funnel is always where we use the best performing ad. You always have to test over here. Let's say if you're selling a lipstick, this is the best. We always try different way of presenting the lipstick. Hopefully, we are able to get the most clicks or the most people to come in at the lowest cost possible. So we do pay attention to the ROAS, but we actually pay more attention on the cost per click, cost per landing, conversion from landing to content view and stuff like that. So this is basically what we want because we know that most people actually won't buy at the first visit. That's the reason why the retargeting ad becomes very important. So we have a first layer of retargeting whereby we call it the immediate intent retargeting. So those people who come in, they start seeing like 4 or 5 items and they do not buy. Not because they're not interested, to be frank, because they already started browsing. So they probably, got distracted, something else to do in life and all that, they kind of just leave it there, but they will always come back. So it's always important to know when to retarget it. So when we are in a fast moving consumer product like cosmetic brand, you know that the retargeting duration shouldn't be too long. So one of the main mistakes I find in most of the retargeting campaign here is they retarget for too long. Say I see some clients retarget for 180 days. They believe that their product needs to be seen over and over again. But here's the thing, my question to you here is, what are you selling at what price point that you believe people need 6 months to consider whether to buy from you or not? So if you are not, your answer is no, and you don't need that long, then if you do 180 days retargeting, even sometimes 30 days retargeting is an over retargeting, which you will be wasting budget, keep sending your ad to people who are already not interested in your product, and you're not going to get good results out of it. So that's the key. So retargeting duration must be clear. So for most businesses, we start with 7 days or 14 days. You really need to test the ratio. And you also need to see how big is the audience who came in, who added to cart and started browsing. So all these can be measured and tested basically. But the immediate retargeting is the one that usually will get you the most result, the best result out of it. The ROAS should be so much higher compared to the top of funnel. So basically, what do we do in the retargeting ads? So let's say if you already use the top of funnel or the so-called the best-selling products to drive people in, because you sell cosmetic, you probably sell multiple categories or you have multiple shades of the lipsticks that you're selling. What you can do here is you can introduce them to your other categories and your other shades. So basically, you have multiple top of funnel ads, and you have even some of the clients that I have, they have even more retargeting ads or ads over here. Why? Because I just want to show you everything I have. So that, let's say if you have added some lipstick to cart, I want to tell you that, look, I have this eyeshadow, which is also really good. Add to cart and, buy at the discount where you can have some free shipping and blah, blah, blah. So you can also, like anchor in and say that, oh, free shipping after purchase, how much? All these are the things that attracts people to buy. So the retargeting portion, especially the immediate retargeting, we can do so many different things in there. So yeah, but we have to remember we don't spend a lot of money on the retargeting. We usually do 80% on the top of funnel and 20% on the retargeting, but it really depends on how big is your audience or how big is your budget. So basically the immediate retargeting is going to get you really good result if everything is set up correctly. And we have a non-immediate retargeting, which is like a long-term customer retargeting. So what we do here is whenever we have a new promotion, whenever we have a new shape launch and all that, we will always run ads to people who have purchased from us, and that we will spend very little money, a budget, but usually we get really, really good result out of it because it's the people who bought from you, they trust you already, they like you already. It's totally natural for them to buy more because when they like the new thing, when they like the new offer, oh, you have a 9.9 coming up, or you have a Black Friday coming up. I mean, I would buy if something that I would use regularly and I already like the experience buying from it and using a product, I would buy. So usually when you set up this structure in a way, your ROAS is going to be totally very stable and well established, as in like, it's going to be good, put it this way. My client is actually seeing about like, I don't want to brag about this, but it's totally possible to even achieve more than 10 ROAS if the whole thing is structured correctly. But you really need to, the whole thing here is I'm sharing with you the idea. But the moment you set up the campaign, you really need to make sure that you're not setting it wrongly, because some of them, a normal mistake would be the retargeting set up incorrectly. So you end up retargeting for too long and stuff like that. So the structure, when you set up, has to be very careful. So yeah, so that's something that I really believe is going to help you get a totally different result. So if you're running an e-commerce business for cosmetic, like lipstick, nail polish, or whatever, that you believe that you want to actually take advantage, but you're not sure whether you will be able to do this right, you need help in setting that up, I do have an offer where I would actually help you design and set up a campaign for you. And basically, everything will be recorded. You can actually use it for your future, but you're going to have a structured setup for you by me, that may work well in terms of helping you get better results for your e-commerce, like business over here, if you're in that area. So basically, this is a 2-call gig where the first call is we come in, we understand the structure, understand the business, understand your goal, and I would actually design and draw out based on whatever existing clients campaigns and all. I will tell you that, okay, now let's use this kind of creative for top of funnel, and let's structure our retargeting in this way. Let's pinpoint these are the products that we need to actually try to target, to tell people about. And let's have X number of ad sets in there featuring, different product each and all that. And then I would set up a long-term retargeting, which is the, like on and off, non-immediate retargeting, which I call you actually run ads to those people who bought from you when you have promotion. So this is an on-off campaign. You turn on when you have it, you turn off when you don't have it. But I would actually design the whole structure, and that's the first call. And on the second call, once you have all the content and everything ready, I would set up the campaign for you in front of you. So immediately you have a recording of how I set up the whole thing, and you have a structure set up in your ads manager where you can start seeing immediate results coming in. At the same time, you can just leverage on it, just keep using it until if you need more assistance coming from me, then you can always reach out to me. So yeah, so if you run an e-commerce brand, especially in a cosmetic and all that, you like the idea that I mentioned, that I shared with you just now, you want a structure like that for your business, reach out to me, scan this QR code, it will take you to my Fiverr gig where you can actually immediately purchase the gig, and I look forward to work with you, right? So, yep, so that's all the question I get from here. And let's see if there's anything. Now, I have a question here coming from CP93. So, CP is asking, is it possible to make sales with fresh pixel within the first few days, or are you going to lose money at the start? this is a very open-ended question. First thing first, it really depends on what you're selling, and it really depends on how do you advertise the whole thing. But if everything is working, basically you will start seeing results immediately. Otherwise, you will start seeing why you're not getting results immediately with all the metrics coming in. Is it the creative not working? Is it the landing page not working? Or whatever that is not working? Hopefully you can actually try to identify and fix it from there. So yeah, so that's my quick answer to your question, because it's very open-ended. But I've seen clients who are having a fresh pixel, but as long as the product is good and the audience targeting and everything, ad creative is all good, they start seeing results coming in right away. It's totally possible. So that's what I want to actually give it to you. But having said that, if you run ads and you are not sure how to analyze, you want to see if there is any way that you can actually find out from your existing campaign and try to build a plan to move forward and to see different results for your campaign, scan this QR code. Let's book a gig where I would actually have a one-on-one Zoom call with you to analyze your campaign and to build a plan for you. All right. So yeah, if that's what you want, scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. With that, right, I think that brings us to the wrap for this session. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for watching. And yeah, see you next week and have a good one. Bye.